You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. Always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Let's just jump right into it. Sinema. Sinema is a strange woman, and she made a big announcement today that she is leaving the Democrat Party and becoming an independent. I'll play her announcement here in a minute, but this is one of the phoniest moves I have ever seen. Now, remember, she's senator from Arizona. It's John McCain country. This is where Kari Lake sadly lost to that Democrat who's the new governor. So she's coming up for re-election in the next cycle. So she has left the Democrat Party, and a lot of people are very excited about this. And I got calls on the radio this morning because it was just breaking news this morning. And I told people right out of the box, without even hearing Kyrsten Sinema make her announcement, don't get excited. There are other independents in the Senate, including Senator Bernie Sanders. There's another guy too. I can't remember his name, but Bernie Sanders. He's an independent, Democratic Socialist and all that. And there have been independents. There have been people who have left the Democrat Party and become independents in the past. The most high-profile one was Joe Lieberman. After Joe Lieberman was Al Gore's running mate and they lost in 2000, he became an independent and stayed in the Senate. And what happens is this. You still have to caucus with one side or the other. The Senate has all these weird rules that go back forever. You still, and what that means by caucus, you still have to align with one or the other, the Republicans or the Democrats. And every Democrat who has walked away from the Democrat Party and become an independent has always caucused with the Democrats. So it doesn't change the balance of anything. You could have 52 independents, right? And not one Democrat. Mm-hmm. Or you could, okay, let me change that.
But doesn't she vote sometimes with the Republicans?
It doesn't matter how you vote.
Well, it kind of does. I mean, if she voted Republican on an issue.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
You could have 52 independents and one Democrat in the Senate, right? Say you've got 52 independents and only one Democrat. If those 52 Democrats say, we're going to caucus with the Democrat, that means even though they're independents, they're counted so far as majority goes as a Democrat.
Right, of course.
So it doesn't matter how they vote, but they have to publicly take a stand. And I just want to play her announcement video. This is her announcement video. Then she did an interview with Jake Tapper, which I'm not going to play because I don't want to hear Tapper. He's a jerk. But I'll tell you what she said there. So this is Sinema's big announcement video. It went on forever. This is way into it.
And I really am grateful that folks have trusted me to take back those concerns that they have. I promised them I would be an independent voice for our state. I promised that I would always do what is right for the people of Arizona. And that's what I've done. Registering as an independent and showing up to work with the title of independent is a reflection of who I've always been. And it's a reflection of who Arizona is. It's a reflection of the folks that I talk to at the grocery store, hear from at the park. It's who we are as a people. We don't line up to do what we're told. We do what's right for our state and for
Okay. She talks so phony, doesn't she? Right.
I don't know why
state.
she just doesn't become a Republican. Isn't Arizona like a Republican?
No, they got a Democrat governor now, Katie Hobbs.
Oh, that's true.
And, okay. Do not trust Sinema. She's still going to vote just like she always did, on occasion, maybe with the Republicans, mostly with the Democrats. She's going to caucus with the Democrats. Mm-hmm. She gave an interview that aired this morning on CNN with Jake Tapper. I'm not going to play it. I just can't. I really don't like the way she talks. I haven't heard her talk too much. I saw that time she was in the bathroom and they came after her in the bathroom. You remember that, But I've never heard her really talk that much, and she talks so fake. I've always been independent, and Arizonans, we are tough, and we do this. Oh, my goodness. It sounds so fake.
Well, she's doing it's like an ad.
It's fake. The interview with Tapper was similar. But anyway, She's the chairwoman of a couple of committees because the Democrats have the majority, and she's on some other important committees. And she told Jake Tapper she plans on still being the chairperson of those two committees. Well, if she's not caucusing with the Democrats, that would no longer be. If she says I'm independent or I caucus with the Republicans, she would lose her chairwomanships on those committees. So when she said that she still plans on chairing those two committees, that tells me that she is still going to caucus with the Democrats, which means nothing's changed. People are all excited about this. Don't trust her. And, you know, the thing about Sinema.
Well, so why is she doing it then?
Because
then what the hell's the point?
Because Arizona is so divided. She's trying to walk a middle line, and she's big into reinventing herself. You know, Sinema is very popular now because she looks cool. She wears cool makeup, and she does her hair and everything. A lot of you don't know this. She had a big makeover right before she ran for the Senate, and she was very frumpy. She looked like you wouldn't even recognize her. I mean, she looked like a tired housewife from the 1970s who, was just worn out from washing dishes and doing laundry all day. She was very frumpy. And then she got this makeover where she started wearing the cool clothes, got the makeup, got the cool hair.
It's amazing what a makeover can do for you.
Yeah, started wearing that.
Especially with women, it really can make a huge difference. Have you seen those videos of they take homeless men off the street and give them a shave and a haircut and they look like GQ models? I mean, it's crazy. They give them a bath and it's like, it's amazing.
So that's what happened to Sinema. So she had this makeover and it was a complete makeover. Go online and Google pictures of her before the makeover. You may not even recognize her. She looks so frumpy. She just looked bad. And then she got this makeover.
She's pretty. I think she's pretty.
She didn't look pretty before. If you saw her before the makeover, it was very strange. So she's all into reinventing herself and not taking positions. She has some weird gender where she's not straight, she's not gay. I don't know what her sexuality is. There's a weird thing going on there. So people are so excited about this. And it's just a big lie. She's selling some lie because she's going to be up for re-election in the next term, in the next cycle, in 2 years. So she's
setting the stage for that.
That's right. She's planning on running. She must have some data that she's in trouble because she's trying to reinvent herself and get herself out of trouble. Like she was in trouble before she got the makeover and and got the stylist and all of that stuff going for her. So do not get excited about Sinema like everyone's doing. Now, there's some other things I want to bring up.
Well, me too. I got a couple things.
Okay. Well, let me bring a couple things up first because I'll forget, Kathy. I just sometimes we get into these shows and I forget half of the things that I want to talk about. Now, I do want to talk about what's going on in St. Louis. The mayor of St. Louis is organizing a committee to look into reparations for African Americans in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah. It's becoming a thing now.
Okay.
I know what this is about, but I'll wait till I'll give you my opinion because I was talking to Emily about this today.
This is the third time this week that someone has talked about reparations. Newsom in California is talking about reparations. By the way, California was a union state. Became a state in 1850, and there never was slavery in California. At the time California was admitted, they had this, the Missouri Compromise. Every time a state, they alternated, right? When a state was admitted, if it was slave, the next one had to be free.
That's right.
And so Newsom last week talking about reparations.
That's
for
true.
slavery.
California wasn't even involved in the Civil War.
Yeah, they were a union state, but they were so far
union.
away.
Yeah, did they send soldiers to fight? Or,
I don't know.
1850. That's pretty right before the war.
Most everybody in California then was like Mexican, but they were a free state. They were never
part of it.
They never. Then a couple days ago, New York started talking about reparations. That was also a union state, and now St. Louis is a little different. But
that's
the South, but. The reason that they're talking about reparations all of a sudden is they're trying to get blacks to come back to the Democrat Party.
That's exactly right.
They're losing blacks to the Republicans.
That's exactly right. And for a lot of people, it'll work. They're trying to get them. They're bribing them basically because. And I was telling this to Emily, but I'll go ahead and let you go on about that because I was telling Emily the same thing this morning.
Well, here's the thing that people have to understand. The civil rights era, in the movement did not end as long ago as it seems. I know it ended before a lot of people were alive, and it ended before a lot of us have a recollection. But even when I was young in an elementary school in the 70s, I was bused. I was involved when I lived up north in Columbus, Ohio. There was busing going on because the busing in the 1970s was to integrate the schools because
that's right.
And I was bused, and segregation was still going on unofficially, even in the 70s in our lifetime. It was, so it's not as long ago as people think. And what has happened in the last few years, a lot of blacks have gone to the Republican Party because of Donald Trump, but they've also gone to the Republican Party because in the last few years, there's finally economic equality.
Yeah.
And if
not just economic, but social.
Well, the social.
I mean, there's interracial marriage. That's a lot of things that weren't accepted. They've won those wars in a lot of ways. I mean, our neighbor was and she's black and her husband was white, and they got married in the 50s. It was, I think, it was like illegal.
It was illegal when they got married.
So
in Florida,
it's not like that now. So times are different. Those battles have been won. It's a different time, and they can't. They have to go to other tactics to get these people.
Well, what's happened is, we've reached the colorblind era, and as a group, blacks have, in a large number as a group, there's been economic equality. There's a very large black middle class. There's a lot of wealthy black people. And when people start becoming middle class and above, they start paying income taxes, not payroll taxes, income taxes. And when people start paying income taxes, they tend to become conservative.
Well, they're not relying on the government anymore. They're paying their own bills with the money they're working for.
So we really have finally reached the Martin Luther King's dream era. So the Democrats are desperate. They're trying to get blacks to come back to the Democrat Party. So they're offering reparations all over the place.
Yeah, it's a desperate move.
It's so obvious
to get them back. Because Emily was asking me about this morning, and she goes to California to see her friends, and we were talking about it, and she thinks, of course, it's ridiculous how they're doing this now and giving all this money to people. And I said, well, what that's all that's about. She says, no. I said, they've lost so many black votes. They're all becoming Republican, and they've lost so many minorities, Hispanics. And I said, they're bribing them to come back. They're finally, they've been talking about reparations for decades. Why do you think it's happening all of a sudden? Why have they all of a sudden decided we're going to give millions and millions of dollars to black people? All of a sudden. Why do you think that is? Because they see the numbers. They know what's going on. They're losing black support by the hundreds of thousands.
That's
and
right.
It's scaring them. And they're like, we got to do something. That's why, like what Scott Pressler said, is Democrats and politicians in general never solve a problem, because as long as the problem exists, they can use it politically. And this is a prime example of this. They've held on to this problem. They've dangled this carrot, and they probably have known all along, you know what, we'll give it to them when we need to do it. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this country that are minorities that fall for it. Because they're like, you know what, they want the money. And I understand it's tempting, but you're being bought. It's no different than it was in the 1700s. You're being bought and paid for your vote.
Well, first of all, reparations are never going to happen.
I don't know about that.
There would be no way to determine who, just because you're black does not necessarily mean that you are descendant of an American slave from St. Louis or someplace else. It's very hard to determine.
What if they just give them to all black people across the board?
Well, a lot of black people are not from the United States originally. There's a lot of immigrants.
There's so many
here.
Interracial mixed. I mean, our daughter is half black, and her birth family is from South America, from Ecuador. She's actually, she's 25% Ecuadorian, and then she's 50% black.
Yeah.
And they're from the islands. But there were slaves in the islands. But how would we even determine that since she's adopted?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's complicated.
And, Africa was selling the slaves to the European slaveholders. I mean, this idea, it's just
crazy. It's
a gimmick. It's never going to happen. It's interesting that it's being talked about now, because it used to be, reparations was a big thing in the 80s and in the 90s, and it just kind of faded away, and I'm surprised it's come back, because it's such a stupid
But it's because of
idea.
what you said.
Well, listen, all of us were born that were born in this country. I'm not talking about immigrants. All of us who were born in this country, it had nothing to do with our choice. We were born here because at some point people in our family came here.
All of us, unless you're Native American.
And they didn't ask us in the future for permission. So none of us are here by choice. We're very lucky to be in America. But, the idea that people are owed something by this country is absurd. A lot of white people are descendants of indentured servants. Indentured servitude was a form of slavery. People would come to this country and they didn't have money for passage or to set themselves up, so people would finance it, and then they would have to work for them for a period. It was usually about 7 years to work off the debt to bring them here. And a lot of times those people didn't survive, or they would get in more debt while they were in indentured servitude and not be able to get out of it, So now, and so the Democrats are the ones proposing this. By the way, the Democrats are the ones who gave us slavery and started the Civil War to maintain it.
All they do is create problems for this country, and then they turn around and want to say we're going to solve the problem that they created in the first place.
And then, after slavery was abolished, after the Civil War, the Democrats are real sleaze buckets, okay? Mm-hmm. They started this sharecropping thing. So the former families that had the plantations, they still had land, and they would rent out the land to the former slaves to farm, and they would charge them for everything. They would charge them for the land, the seed, the equipment, and they were and they would get so far in debt they could never get out of it. The sharecropping period, and then the Jim Crow era. Democrats did all this, and
all they do is take advantage of the black community. And
that's right,
and they're still doing it to this day. But like your one caller that calls in, I don't want to say his name, on the radio show, who's so angry. This caller you have, I think he's the exception, not the norm. But there's a lot of black people in the black community, and like I said, I think this is the exception, that just hold on to so much anger as if slavery ended yesterday. They have no connection to it other than the color of their skin. Like you said, probably most of them aren't even related to slaves. You know what I mean? It's it's not as common as people would think. But they have so much anger and so much hatred towards white people. I don't understand it. It's a little frightening. But do they think that we feel that way about them? Do they think that we have that much anger and hatred towards black people? Because that is absolutely not true.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, listen, for the most part, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Diamonds are certainly beautiful, but very expensive. You may not be able to afford diamonds, but you can afford the look with moissanite. Moissanite is a naturally occurring crystal that looks just like diamonds. Jewelry made from this mineral is stunning and very affordable. The Etsy shop, Moissanite Rings Co., that's all one word, on Etsy.com, sells handcrafted, amazing rings, earrings, bracelets, and much more. Shop their diamond wedding and engagement rings and bands. No one will know they are not real diamonds. You deserve better, economical, eco-friendly, and conflict-free fine moissanite diamond jewelry. Available at Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Buy any ring above $100 and you'll get a matching band for just $1. Perfect for yourself or as a gift. Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy.com. Start shopping right now. What would you do if you woke up in a place that was heavily alien and you had no idea how you got there? In the book from author M.K. Hussein, Fabric, Day One, Origins Unknown, available on Amazon, meet Max, who wakes up suddenly to find he's prisoner in a maximum security facility. He doesn't remember much, not even his name or why he's been detained. Somehow, he manages to escape the wretched place only to discover something far worse. The world is not how he remembers it before he had awakened. The past, present, past and future have somehow collided into one. Nothing is the same as it was before. Trapped on this new world, he finds out he only has 3 days to live and only 3 days to find a cure. He has to walk through a mystical door that has only room for one. The only problem is he's not the only prisoner on the planet. What happens next? Find out when you read Fabric, Day 1, Origins Unknown from author M.K. Hussein. Available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. Do you ever think that your life needs a spiritual upgrade? The book, Lord, I Need an Upgrade, from author Lydia K. Atube, offers 16 weeks of Bible scriptures and inspirational messages to help you in rising higher in your faith walk with God. This prayer journal has been set up in a weekly format with short inspirational messages, scriptures to guide you as you travel this road of faith and victory in Jesus, and an area to write your favorite praise songs, dreams, and visions received. Lord, I Need an Upgrade includes weekly messages, scriptures to meditate on, and the theme of praise is carried throughout the book as prayer points. Reflection portions are also included for each week for a 16-week timeline. If you're looking to get closer to God, this is the perfect book to help you get where you want to be. Lord, I Need an Upgrade, from author Lydia K. Atube. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. You know, when our daughter was a little girl, she was all into The American Girl. And if you guys don't know what that is, we used to watch the movies.
Movies are good.
They have like Hallmark movies about The American Girl. And then they would have like a doll that went with the character in the movie.
And they have books.
And we used to get the books.
Oh, yeah, it's a whole thing.
We used to get the books. We used to watch the movies. And I think she's had some of the dolls. Did she have any of the dolls?
No.
She didn't have any of the dolls, but we used to watch the movie. The only one I remember.
They were too expensive.
Oh, the dolls were expensive.
I didn't get her into the dolls because Emily was never really into dolls. She really wasn't, but she would watch the movies and read. She liked to read a lot, but she was never into dolls.
The American Girl series, what I remember of it, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but like it would be a girl who was living through a period in America, and there would be a movie about her, a book about her.
They were good.
And then they have a doll about her. I remember one, it was a girl that was living through the Depression, and she was like a 10-year-old girl living through the Depression and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. It's a good movie.
So there's been an update here. Okay, this is an article in Newsbusters, newsbusters.org, pretty good online conservative outlet there. The popular children's toy brand American Girl is under scrutiny for releasing a book called A Smart Girl's Guide Body Image that promotes transgenderism. It's hard to believe this is happening. American Girl rebranded itself from its former name, Pleasant Company, around 2000 when Mattel purchased the brand. Since then, the company has spiraled in terms of quality of products. Previously, the company focused on 18-inch dolls with some minor accessories and clothing changes. They produced books that accompany dolls with different historical backgrounds, like we were talking about.
Yeah, they're good.
Each doll had a different history and heritage that young girls would learn about with this purchase of each toy and her story. And then the movies, I don't know, the movies were like Hallmark-type movies.
They don't make a movie for every girl.
No.
But the ones we've seen are very good. And I've seen like 3 or 4. Very well done. And they do a whole back history, and then they give them accessories and clothes to match. And they're very popular.
Okay, so now in this new American Girl book, their body image American Girl book has a passage that says, if you haven't gone through puberty yet, the doctor might offer medicine to delay your body's changes, giving you more time to think about your gender identity.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy.
Body image, this is the new American Girl book, also listed resources for kids to turn to if you don't have an adult you trust, like your parents. Go to another adult other than your parents. Oh, yeah, I know. Isn't that something? The New York Post indicated that this new American Girl book said, studies show that transgender and non-binary kids who get help from doctors have much better mental health than those who don't, and encourage the use of they pronouns.
I doubt that.
The book reportedly tells children that they should appreciate their body, but also still want to change certain things about it, aka their boy or girl parts.
Oh my gosh.
The New American Girl book also promotes the use of puberty blockers, which even the New York Times has warned against. And it just goes on. Molly Hemingway, who's with the Federalist, she tweeted an image of the book, and she said, parents should know that American Girl guidebooks, which used to be pretty good, now promote dangerous gender ideology to little girls as young as 3. If you love your daughters, protect your daughters by avoiding this company.
Oh my gosh.
You know, a lot of people, we don't talk about this transgender stuff too much on the program. And the reason that I don't talk about it too much is it's just so stupid what they're doing. It's outrageous. And it's just, to me, the telling little kids as young as 3 to talk to their doctor without their parents around to try to stop puberty when they're in the puberty age and all this stuff, it seems so ridiculous and so outrageous. Mm-hmm. I've just always assumed that because it's so out there that it's just going to end. People are going to say, this is nuts, and just stop it. And it keeps getting worse and worse and worse and more out there and more far-fetched and more lunacy. And people are, I think, afraid to come out and put a stop to it because they don't want to be called, I don't know, transphobes. Is that what you would be? A transphobe? Because it's not they say it's not a gay thing. And, you know, out of all of the social issues, like there's been the cultural war has been going on for a long time, and there's all these different cultural issues and everything, and there's been different discussions, you know, gay marriage and being out and different things like this. But nothing has been, to me, as strange as transgenderism with children. You know, children can't even get their ears pierced without parental permission. How can they talk about puberty blockers without their parents?
I don't understand how pervasive this is, because you hear stories like this. Obviously, this is a big company, so this is a big deal. But like you see the teachers on Libs of TikTok and all this, I don't know how many teachers are pushing this. Is it just a small amount, but it just gets a lot of publicity? Is this like really infiltrating the culture? I'm not aware of it because it's like not part of my personal world. You know, our daughter's almost 24 and not in like, you know, public school like that.
Yeah.
So, and thank goodness Emily thinks all this is crazy, what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
But if you have kids that are in elementary school or middle school or high school, I'd like to know in the comments, you know, is this going on in your school? Do you see these things? It just seems like it's infiltrating all aspects of the culture now. You have it in school, you have it in movies, you have it in books. And the problem, and maybe even in songs. And the problem is, like you say, with our generation, we're Generation X, it seems so strange and weird. And obviously, we're going to talk to our kid about it. But what I worry about are these younger parents that think it's cool. How many parents in their 20s that are young, that are growing up like this, that are, to them, it's normal. To them, it's normal for their 4 and 5-year-old to come to them and say, you know, I don't want to be a girl. Look at Angelina Jolie's daughter, Shiloh. Very pretty girl. She's like 15 now. And when she was growing up, you would always see pictures of her once in a while, and she would dress like a boy. She looked like a boy. She had her hair cut short. And Angelina Jolie even did an interview where she said, our daughter identifies as a boy. And she was like 7, 8 years old, right? Well, now she's 15 and she is full on girl. She wears dresses. She is the gender she was born. She wears makeup. I mean, could you imagine if they had given her puberty blockers at 8 and 9 years old? And I don't think they did, because she just was a tomboy. I mean, that's basically what's going on here. And then she went through puberty, and now she's how she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But they want to get to these kids. I don't understand the meaning behind it. All I can think is these activists that are in this world, they want to normalize this so they feel normal. and they want everybody to accept it, and they're just starting with younger and younger and younger children.
With the American Girl 3.
Because they want to get to them before they hit puberty, because you know what? They know when puberty hits, they're going to come into their own, and they're going to figure out, okay, I'm a girl, this is how I feel, this is all nonsense. If they get to them before that happens, they can cut them off at the pass.
Now,
it's sickening.
I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support. Thank you so much, everyone. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. There's a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. And, of course, Patreon supporters, you get commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And there's other perks and benefits as well. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, and Rome, Wisconsin. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. And again,
we have new Patreons too.
Yeah,
I want to welcome you guys.
Yeah, that's right. Our new Patreon supporters. Make sure you go to the Patreon page and get the commercial-free editions of the podcast, which I upload there. And on occasion, Kathy and I do Patreon exclusive podcast. Kathy, since she's been recovering from her surgery, we haven't done a Patreon-only podcast in a few weeks.
Them again soon.
But look out for one soon. We'll try to get one up there this week. When I was in middle school, talking about this transgender thing, there was a guy, a kid, he lived across the street from me, and he had a sister. I cannot remember his name, but I was at their house one day, and he had this idea. He wanted his sister to put makeup on him, which I thought he wanted me to do it with him. I said, no, I'm not doing it.
How old were you?
12. I remember this so clearly because something happened. So I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. So he had his sister put makeup on him like a girl. She was older. She was like in high school. She's probably like in 9th or 10th grade. We were in middle school. I don't remember. But she did him up, man. She did all the makeup. I don't know what all that, not just lipstick and eyeshadow, but all that stuff you put all over. I don't know what it is. Mascara. I don't know what that stuff is. But she did the whole foundation, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't put mascara all over, just on your eyelashes.
Okay, whatever. But okay. But you know what I mean? She did him up. And his dad came in the room and had a flip out and started screaming at him and said, apparently this had happened before. So I'll ask you guys.
These days, the dad would go in and get made up too.
Yeah, right. I'll ask you guys about this in the chat room. I cannot remember that guy's name. I want to say Michael popped in my mind. So that's probably what his name was. But Michael, I'm pretty sure that's his name because it popped in my head when I first mentioned it. And that usually means it's his name. His dad, when I say his dad was furious. I've never seen a parent of one of my friends growing up yell at their child in front of me.
Well, he was
like
probably
this.
Embarrassed too because you were there.
And I'd tell my parents.
And that probably really made him even more angry because he probably figured you'll go home and tell your mom and dad what happened. And
I remember
added it to the pressure.
And he used a very dated term, which tells you how old this guy was. He said, "You've got makeup on like you're some kind of sissy."
Sissy.
That tells you how long ago it was, right? He called his son a sissy.
Yeah.
So you guys let us know in the chat room about that because I haven't thought about that in a long time. But now that I think about it, he probably this guy that lived across the street, he probably was gay.
Well, you think?
Yeah.
Well,
look, how do you think about his father's reaction? Do you think let me know in the chat room.
He wouldn't be that way now. If he had reacted that way now, the kid would call social services.
And the father get arrested.
I'm not kidding.
But what I would like you guys to let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
Was the father's reaction? Now, this was like 80. It was 11 or 12. So it was like 82, 83.
So the father grew up in the 50s, 40s and 50s.
I guess. And his father was older, too.
So maybe even the 30s.
Yeah, so his father was older. His father was about the same age as my grandfather. So he was like,
in his 50s,
like 60s, 50s at the time.
Man.
So and this was like 82, 83. Yeah. And I remember the exact age, but I remember the father was friends with my grandfather. They knew each other. They used to associate.
Oh, okay.
You know. But let us know in the comments. I'm curious about this. Do you think that father's reaction of seeing his 12-year-old son put makeup on, calling him a sissy and everything. Was that the appropriate reaction? Did his father react properly? It had happened before because he had made some reference that last time this happened, he told him not to do it again, and he did it. And I don't know. What do you think? Do you think his reaction was appropriate, or what should he have done?
I've had my
I don't think I'd like
father yell at me in front of my friends.
No, I'm talking about being upset at the makeup.
I'm just saying, and I never liked it. It's very humiliating.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know if he should have yelled at him in front of you.
Told me to go home,
but I would have
it.
definitely talked to him. But look, here's the deal. There's gay people in the world, a lot of them. There's transgender people. There's transsexuals, whatever. They're there. But what's going on now is recruitment, encouragement. It's not anymore that kids are just born this way. They're being actively recruited and
that's what the grooming. Everyone talks about grooming. That's what it is.
Brainwashed into adopting this lifestyle, and they're doing it when they're younger and younger because they're very confused and they want to get a hold of you without your parents. That is frightening. And they want to convince you because you're very malleable and impressionable, and they understand that the younger it is, the better. And they have this whole generation now growing up. I don't even know what this generation is. Emily's a Generation Z. What's the next generation?
Generation H for hopeless.
I mean, Generation Trans, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're,
Generation T for trans.
You have this whole generation. By the time they grow up, of course, Brian and I'll be in our 60s by then. What the hell are they going to be like?
Oh.
I mean, is there going to be a backlash for all of this brainwashing? But for kids like this is normal to them. And a lot of the parents now do not react like that father. Like I said, if it was a father
today, that wouldn't happen.
If it was a father of today, he would get out his phone and make a TikTok video getting both of them made up and put it online. I mean, things are so different. And, I'm glad that parents are more accepting of their children. That's important. But because there are all different kinds of people in the world. But it's getting to a point now, like I said, where there's active recruitment going on.
It's grooming,
and
Kathy.
grooming.
It's grooming.
And I remember in the 80s when this gay, and I don't think gays should live in the closet, don't get me wrong. But
this
when
is different
AIDS
than
and all
gay.
that was coming, no, but what I'm saying is I remember when the Christian Coalition people and all these people, when the gays were really starting to come out, and they would say they're going to start recruiting children, they're going to start doing this in the gay community. Oh, no, that's never going to happen. It's happening now.
Yeah.
They're actively recruiting, and they're activists that are becoming teachers, not to teach. Not to teach. They're becoming teachers to recruit.
Yeah.
That is what is going on, to recruit them into their world and into the LGBTQ community.
That's right.
I know that's what a lot of them are doing. Now, like I said, I don't know how many there are. I'm not in that world. I'm not teaching anymore. But things have really changed in the last 5 years. It is shocking to me how many young teachers now. I mean, was there some big active push on college campuses? I don't know. But if you watch Libs of TikTok, you see a lot of teachers like this that are decorating their classrooms. This one teacher they just had on who got in trouble, like you talked about the guy at the school.
Project Veritas.
That Project Veritas. Then there was, if you follow Libs of TikTok, it'll turn your hair white. And there was another teacher who had a library in their classroom of LGBTQ books talking about gay sex. How can this happen in public schools? But you can't pray to God. And they don't want you to say the pledge anymore. But it's okay to have a book about anal sex between two guys. The world has gone nuts. Well, that's all I can say.
I don't want to say what the things were because it's obscene.
This is bizarre.
I mean, I know this is the internet and we could say it, but I don't want to. But Project Veritas had a release today. There was an administrator at a private school who was bringing gay sex toys into the school
passing
them around for the kids to play with. There's a story today.
I feel so bad for kids these days.
Listen to this story. This is in the news today. These stories we're talking about right now are all from today. This transgender stuff. I mean, every other story is about transgender.
Yeah.
The transgender prison experiment uncovered.
I saw this.
Listen to this. Putting trans women in women's prison is dangerous. Fakers could seek cushier cell blocks and access to female inmates. Incidents of rape and abuse recorded across America in the past year, with women describing non-feminine, bizarre, creepy individuals in prison blocks who were claiming to be trans. So they sent them to the women's prison. In California, 334 male to female transitioners asked to move to women's prisons. See, if you're a guy and you're in, these male prisons are rough, you say you're trans, they send you with the ladies.
Sure.
43 requests in California have been approved. Many are under review. 5 women are suing the state's prison system over the law that was signed by Gavin Newsom. And there's been a huge number of rapes and other things they say that are going on. I know people aren't going to worry about convicted people in prison as much as they do children. But,
that's about survival too.
Yeah, these videos that you see on libs of TikTok on Twitter of teachers in their classroom doing these weird things about trans stuff and everything. Yeah. I think it's more common than you think because these teachers are making videos and putting themselves out there in the public to be seen. They're not doing it in secret.
Right.
So the fact that these teachers are so comfortable doing it,
why do you think they do
tells
that?
me that it's more prevalent than we want to believe. Why do they do it? Because that whole generation live on the internet and want to go on the internet and be internet famous. And that's why they go on and do it. Most of them probably don't even mind getting on libs of TikTok because it lets people know more about what they're doing. Yeah, they might be trying to get on there. But let me tell you, I did not miss a single parents' night from kindergarten through our daughter's senior year in high school. I went to every parent night every year. Kathy and I were in regular parent-teacher conferences throughout our daughter's entire schooling from K through 12, not just with her teachers. It even got more difficult when she had like 5 or 6 teachers, a day in middle school and high school. Mm-hmm. But we also knew the people that worked in the office and administrators, and we were really annoying parents probably. And they would see us. Every school our daughter went to, they knew us in the office. Yeah. And our daughter was never in trouble, but we were just very active in her education. And I know a lot of parents can't do that, don't do that, or feel they're intruding.
You have to make time.
With what's going on in the public schools today, you've got to be involved. And if you've got grandchildren, you've got to get your children involved in your grandchildren's schools. You got to do it.
This is just in the last 3 to 4 years.
It's getting out of control.
This is really new. I mean, this activism and things like this, it's like a domino effect.
Yep.
And one person does this, one teacher, and it just catches on like wildfire. I mean, it's amazing to me. When I was teaching, I'm sure there were gay teachers and all this stuff. I'm not naive. But I never saw, and I taught at a middle school for 4 years, I never saw like trans teachers that I can think of off the top of my head. And, you can sometimes tell. There were some students, though, like girls that would dress like guys, but no guys dress like girls, I could tell you that. But there were girls that had short hair and wore guys' clothes. But, and that was no big deal, not many. But anyway, that doesn't bother me. It's this recruitment and this active, in classrooms, they should be teaching academics, okay? Any time spent teaching this social justice nonsense is time taken away from actual learning. You know how hard it is when you're in middle school or high school, you have the kid for about 50 minutes. You have 30 kids. You know how hard it is to get their attention? Sometimes it would take me 20 minutes just to get my kids working. Mm-hmm. I'd have to get them settled down because kids will do anything to keep from working. They distract you. They'll talk to you. They'll come up to your desk, anything to keep you from teaching. So when you have this kind of stuff going on in a classroom and you have such a short window of teaching, how much education is even going on anymore? Are kids even learning anything? In fact, Emily, who's 23, she, sees people online and some of her people she knows that are younger. And she was telling me how stupid they are. She said they don't know how to spell. Mm-hmm. She said they don't know how to write. They have no writing skills. Mm-hmm. And I said, and she said they can't do math. I said, Emily, because they don't teach education, they don't teach academics anymore. They teach kids how to be transgender.
It's social engineering.
And how whites are bigots. Yeah. It's schools have now become social engineering institutions. The government is using your money to brainwash you. It's like Hitler Youth, what's going on here, to brainwash your children. It is frightening. And I told Emily, I said, if you were in school, your dad and I would do whatever we could to put you in a private school, like a Catholic school, because I said, this is insane what's going on. And you're at work and your kids are at school being completely brainwashed.
That's right.
It's frightening.
It is frightening. It really truly is. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Diamonds are certainly beautiful, but very expensive. You may not be able to afford diamonds, but you can afford the look with moissanite. Moissanite is a naturally occurring crystal that looks just like diamonds. Jewelry made from this mineral is stunning and very affordable. The Etsy shop, Moissanite Rings Co., that's all one word, on Etsy.com, sells handcrafted, amazing rings, earrings, bracelets, and much more. Shop their diamond wedding and engagement rings and bands. No one will know they are not real diamonds. You deserve better, economical, eco-friendly, and conflict-free fine moissanite diamond jewelry. Available at Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Buy any ring above $100 and you'll get a matching band for just $1. Perfect for yourself or as a gift. Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy.com. Start shopping right now. Do you ever think that your life needs a spiritual upgrade? The book, Lord, I Need an Upgrade, from author Lydia K. Atube, offers 16 weeks of Bible scriptures and inspirational messages to help you in rising higher in your faith walk with God. This prayer journal has been set up in a weekly format with short inspirational messages, scriptures to guide you as you travel this road of faith and victory in Jesus, and an area to write your favorite praise songs, dreams, and visions received. Lord, I Need an Upgrade includes weekly messages, scriptures to meditate on, and the theme of praise is carried throughout the book as prayer points. Reflection portions are also included for each week for a 16-week timeline. If you're looking to get closer to God, this is the perfect book to help you get where you want to be. Lord, I Need an Upgrade, from author Lydia K. Atube. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. Parents, grandparents, and teachers, are you looking for a book to help introduce your child to emotions? Pick up a copy of My Selfie, a monstrous book of feelings, from author Shelley Hibb. Available on Amazon. This children's picture book is perfect for teaching your little one the concept of feelings. Each easy-to-read page has a corresponding emoji, paired with illustrations depicting big emotions, and a color-changing monster who matches an emotional color wheel. It's a fun and simple way for kids to become aware and comfortable with their feelings. Give your child the gift of understanding emotions and help them learn coping skills as well as strategies that they'll keep with them for life. From author Shelley Hibb. My Selfie, a monstrous book of feelings. Available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. If you're looking for truly unique fashions at great prices, you need to check out BlueWaveFashion.com. BlueWaveFashion.com sell denim and jeans, dresses, jewelry, jumpsuits, rompers, leggings, pants, shoes, and much, much more. They have an incredible selection that's stylish and modern. Whether you're looking for casual or more dressy, bohemian or classic, they have it all, and the looks you want at incredible prices. The clothes at BlueWaveFashion.com have been featured in all the top fashion magazines, but you won't pay top prices. Everything is cute and affordable, so you can add to your existing wardrobe or build an entirely new one. They have clothes in all sizes, so this is the perfect online store for everyone. Make sure to check out their Christmas collection with adorable and festive sweaters and sweatshirts that will keep you warm and cozy while expressing your holiday joy. And at BlueWaveFashion.com, always enjoy free worldwide shipping. When you go to their website, sign up and save with special offers, find free giveaways, and once-in-a-lifetime deals. BlueWaveFashion.com. Start shopping right now. BlueWaveFashion.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Oh, by the way, if you've not checked out my YouTube channel, do it. Search Brian Craig Show. on YouTube just yesterday, like 10 minutes before the launch, because I'd forgotten about it. I saw Elon Musk was launching another SpaceX rocket from Cape Kennedy right here in Florida. And this was a satellite launch. So I was like, oh, man, I got 10 minutes. So I grabbed my iPhone, ran outside in the backyard, got the ladder out, and went up on the roof with our daughter and filmed the rocket launch from the roof of our house. We are due south. I mean, we are directly due south of the launch pads at Kennedy Space Center at our house. And we got a good view of the launches, and I got a really good YouTube video watching the SpaceX launch. I think you'll enjoy it. It's on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube, all right? So, and I also upload the podcast on YouTube, and of course, I live stream when I'm on the radio during the week there and do all kinds of stuff, vlogging and everything else. So, Brian Craig Show on YouTube, check it out. All right.
I'd like to know, because I'm reading this story on the Daily Mail, DeSantis eats further into Trump's lead in the polls amid the fallout from his dinner with Kanye and Nick Fuentes and midterms blame game when he attacked DeSantis. You know, Trump's had some bad publicity. That's nothing new.
Yeah.
That's, whatever he does is going to garner bad publicity.
That's right.
Former president's approval rating drops. I personally know people in my family and people I know, friends of mine from college, that are huge, huge Trump supporters.
Big MAGA people.
In Florida. These are Floridians. Huge Trump supporters. That are so upset about him attacking DeSantis, they refuse to vote for Trump again. It was a huge mistake what he did. No doubt about it. I think we can all agree on that.
What? Who did what?
When Trump attacked DeSantis. It just was not a smart move. Okay, maybe you don't agree with it, but, it was not a smart move. I don't know why he did it, but anyway. I want to know, honestly, and I'll put up a poll. If anybody, I've seen people in your chat in the morning that have said that they are no longer voting for Trump. What is upset, if you're no longer going to vote for Trump, as of now, obviously that can change. What does upset you more? Him attacking DeSantis or the Kanye West Nick Fuentes luncheon? I'm curious if you've changed your mind on Trump. And I really feel that Trump can win people back over. People have short memories, and the election's 2 years away. And I'm going to vote for Trump. And I know Brian is, even though I'm not happy with him attacking DeSantis, he still has my support in the election because I think he's a great president. I think he's a good leader. And I think DeSantis has enough time. He can wait. He's only 44 years old. But I want to know if you've hardened on Trump or whatever you want to call it. Is it because of his attack on DeSantis, which has upset a lot of people? Softened. If you softened on Trump.
Oh, my goodness.
Is it because of his attack on DeSantis? Or did the Kanye West thing upset you? What is it? Leave in the comments. Why are you upset?
I do not agree with Kathy's assessment there. Yeah. But
people have gotten upset over it, though.
Oh, I know.
They've told me.
I know.
So I'm just telling you what I've heard.
I know Kathy, who's Kathy's talking about. But
it's more than one person.
All this stuff with Trump and DeSantis and everything, they're trying to portray Trump as a loser, right? Because he didn't win every single race that he endorsed. I know there were 3 high-profile losses. I'm not saying that's good. Carrie Lake, Herschel Walker, and Dr. Oz. Okay, I get that we had 3 high-profile losses, but we had way over 100 wins, and he's got a world record for endorsement victories. However,
that's not what I'm talking
about. They say, well, he lost, so he can't win. Richard Nixon lost to Kennedy, and that was a big-time, huge, humiliating loss. He lost to Kennedy in 1960. Then after that, he ran for governor of California, lost out there, and then he went on to get elected to win the presidency. And then when Nixon ran for his reelection, he won 49 of the 50 states, okay? Right. So
things can change.
So people lose, and people don't win every election they get involved in.
Right.
Unless you're a lot of it is like gambling, and you can't you can't always win. But he wins many more times than he loses, right. and there's other factors you guys know. But
that's not what I'm talking about.
But there's this thing with DeSantis.
People have changed their mind as of now.
Okay, this is the thing about DeSantis. The only people that I know of that are MAGA people that I know personally that are angry at President Trump over his criticism of DeSantis, which I'm not. But I know there's one person in our immediate family who is, and they are very strong MAGA. I'm here to tell you. They're not like that fake MAGA. I can vouch for them.
They are very strong.
And they're very angry at Trump. And I haven't talked to them about this yet. I will at some point. We just haven't gotten together with them. That Kathy's talked to them.
You'll set them straight?
I'll set them straight. But
that'll be fun.
These are Floridians. Yeah. And Ron DeSantis is incredibly popular in Florida because of everything he did during COVID and everything. So I don't know if that would translate outside of Florida. Like I think that the Florida MAGA people that are upset at Trump for criticizing DeSantis are upset because DeSantis did so much good for this state. You know, we've had Republican governors since 1998. We've never had anyone that was a rock star like Ron DeSantis. No. Although, as crazy as this will seem, Jeb Bush destroyed the teachers union in Florida. That Jeb Bush had the voucher system where you had school choice. The teachers union backed the Democrat running against him in 1998, and the teachers union mortgaged their teachers union office building to raise money to run against Jeb, and he beat them, and he broke the teachers union in Florida, and that was huge, and he was very, very popular. I've told you guys, we had Jeb Bush on the Steve Kane Show many times. And in studio, and when he was running for governor, the election where he won for the first time, we had this a black female caller called in. One of our liberal black callers called in and said that Jeb Bush, what are you going to do for black people? And he said nothing. She said, what? He said, I'm not going to do something for black people that I wouldn't do for white people. He says, as governor, I'm going to do things for all Floridians, not just black people, the white people or Hispanic people. And she was flabbergasted. Mm-hmm. And then he changed and got weird, and he got nasty with President Trump. And I agree with everything that Trump ever said about Jeb because he was a different guy. But Ron DeSantis is Governor Kickass. I mean, there's just nothing like this. And when I was with Governor DeSantis, with his wife at one of our sponsors for the radio, Wings Plus in Coral Springs a few weeks ago, I'd never seen anything like this except that when Trump's around. I've been around a lot of politicians, household name, national politicians. I've been around other presidents. I've been around all of the governors that we've had in the last 25 years. I've met every governor we've had since the 80s. And it goes way back with Governor Martinez, Governor Graham. Remember all those governors, you Floridians? I've met them all in person with others around. I've never seen people so excited around a governor as around Ron DeSantis. It's crazed. They were crazed. You know,
well, that's what I mean. People love Florida is very important. He flipped Dade County. That's huge.
It's where Miami is.
Yeah, people love him here.
But we're only one state.
An important state, and a state, by the way, that where the election returns come in right away.
Yeah.
And
we have two time zones in Florida.
That matters. Well,
the Panhandle's in the Central Time Zone.
That matters because you cannot tell me that people on the West Coast that are voting aren't influenced by that. You've talked about that with me before, how they should have all their returns come in at once.
Yeah, they should not be announced.
Because it can influence the West Coast votes. It's 3 hours separate. And if they see momentum with one person, that can affect who they vote for. If they see, well, DeSantis has won Florida, he's won Georgia, Trump's not going to, in the primary, Trump's not going to make it. So, plus the primaries are different days. You start in New England in that area, and then you work your way around. And if you don't build up momentum and get it going right away, that's a problem. You know what I mean? You have to. Remember, Jeb Bush kept saying, well, I'm the turtle and Trump's the hare. Give me a break. He kept thinking he was going to find, you got to start momentum right away and keep it going because it affects other voters.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what the audience thinks. If you have soured on Trump.
Oh, gosh.
People have. I know you're out there.
I don't understand that at all.
Because I know people personally that have. And more than one.
I just don't understand that.
What is it about? What happened? And do you think that Trump can win you back? I think he can. But I think what's happening with DeSantis, he's not saying anything at all, which I think is why Trump's upset. But I think there's the woman that called you and said this made a lot of sense. I think that this is my personal speculation. I think the powers that be, and I'm sure DeSantis has been in communication with these people. I mean, come on, let's not be naive. I think the powers that be in the swamp, the upper levels of the GOP, have told him Trump's going to get arrested. He's not going to be running. It's not going to happen. They're not going to let it happen. And I think he's biding his time, raising money, doing what he's got to do, and he's biding his time to wait and see what comes of that. And he will not make a decision until that happens, until the very last minute, because I think people have told him he won't be on the ticket, where they're not going to let it occur. And that's why he's just kind of laying low. What do you think?
Yeah,
that's what that caller said. I think she made a lot of sense.
I've been paying a lot of attention to Governor DeSantis.
Yeah,
and he has totally stayed out of this. And what do you think about my? I do believe I'm very confident with what's going on now that President Trump is going to be indicted.
Yeah,
they may even officially arrest the man.
Right,
and what's going on here. I'll just say
I think that's what he's waiting for, maybe.
This is something that's going on here, okay? And this is...
Yeah.
It's really upsetting to me, the way they're treating Donald Trump. It really is. And it is. A lot of times I don't like to talk about it and think about it because it's so upsetting and it's just sad, because Donald Trump is the greatest president of our lifetime. The things that he did are just amazing, and he'll do more in his second term. However... The January 6th committee is going to release their findings and recommendations of indictments that the attorney general should come down with right before Christmas.
They're going to do something.
And
they're not going to just let this go.
Yeah, the Democrats control the House until January 3rd. So Nancy Pelosi is still the speaker until January 3rd.
That's right.
So they have said that they're going to recommend a criminal referral for President Trump.
Yep.
And this is what they're going to do with that. I've been telling people about this for a long time. And this is what their scheme is. Now, they're doing this quickly because the Republicans will control the House on January 3rd, so they're going to do it quick. They're going to say that the criminal referral is a charge for insurrection, and they're going to keep him off the ballot in some primary states.
Right.
And I've been telling you guys about this for a long time, and that's their plan. And I think Ron DeSantis is doing what you said, Kathy. A caller called me at the beginning of the week on the radio and brought this up, and I can't remember which caller it was, but I think she was spot on with this. I think Ron DeSantis is very much with President Trump still, and I think President Trump is with him, but I think he is waiting in the wings because I think President Trump believes he's going to be indicted, and they're going to keep him off the ballot. I really do. I don't know if he thinks they're going to keep him off the ballot for sure, but I think
you think that scares Trump.
I don't think so. At his age and experience, he'll beat it, but it's not going to be fun.
No.
He thinks there's a greater than 50% chance he's going to get indicted and be charged, and they're protecting DeSantis. DeSantis and Trump together are protecting DeSantis so he can come in and keep the MAGA movement going if they do this. And I think that's definitely in the works. I don't think they're enemies. I don't think so. They're working against one another. I don't. In fact,
but are they? But I don't know if they're working together either.
I think they may. Donald Trump is very, very smart and very good at a lot of things.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he is best at,
it's possible,
is marketing and manipulation of everything. And
that's true.
And getting a dialogue going and setting the narrative. And I could see President Trump making it appear that he and DeSantis are not on the best of terms so that DeSantis can come in and be and carry the MAGA torch in Trump's name if they keep him off the ballot. Because this is what they're going to do.
Yeah,
they very well are going to charge him.
You're definitely sure
if they just have the charge, they'll find in one of the primary states, they'll find a governor, a state secretary of state, someone who will say, we're not going to have Trump on the ballot in this state. Trump will take it to court.
Yeah.
It'll go to the Supreme Court. And I talked about this earlier this week. You may have heard me say this on the radio. Trump will take it to the Supreme Court. He'll probably win, but the ballots will already be printed up.
Right.
And they'll say it's too late. Elections next week. We can't print up new ballots. They'll keep them all. They're going to do this, and then they're going to try to do it in other states, even if he wins in the first state. So DeSantis and President Trump, I believe, are playing a game.
What if Trump?
So they're not tightly connected.
What now? This is crazy. What if Trump was his running mate? Could that happen?
No, they can't run together with the Florida residency.
So that definitely cannot occur.
No, they can't run together with the Florida residency. He would have to establish residency elsewhere.
Okay.
And they would never let him get away with that, like they did Dick Cheney in 2000. Yeah. So they can't. Even Dick Morris said they can't do it on Newsmax last week. Listen, we're going to take a break. When we get back, there's more to talk about. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'm Brian Craig. Always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
Comedy podcast fans, there's a podcast that will have you on the floor laughing. Gene and Ozzy bring you the company of two fun-loving and joke-cracking old friends. They're two old friends that discuss all kinds of things, but no controversial subjects and no politics. It's a fun and clean time you can count on to make you smile. It's perfect for your drive to or home from work. Take a break from the stresses of life and have a chuckle as you listen to Gene and Ozzy discuss your favorite topics.
Hey, I'm Gene.
Hola, I'm Ozzy. Welcome to the Gene and Ozzy Show.
Did you want to be Darth Vader?
Never.
What?
No, that was not my favorite character on Star Wars. And sometimes you had no idea how to even play the game. I can't describe Joust to you. I had no idea what that game was all about.
Stuart had more toys than I did.
You know, I got to meet the Stuart one of these days. Is he alive?
He's still alive. He's our age, and
at our age, you got to ask: is he alive? Like the kids ruled the world in the 1980s. Everyone,
we ruled the world in the 1980s.
Yeah, of course, parents still beat us to death, but we felt like we had the upper hand on them.
Parents had the real control, but in our brains, we ruled the world. The thing about my Aunt Lizzie was she had a smoker's voice. And it was like this. And see your Aunt Lizzie. Sounds like you were alfalfa in school.
Oh, it was terrible. Beyond your imagination how terrible I looked during school days. What is it? What were the shoes that we would wear in the 70s and 80s?
Buster Brown shoes.
Buster Browns. Buster Browns.
The Gene and Ozzy Show, brought to you by your favorite host, Gene and Ozzy. Find these two funny guys on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and your favorite podcast platform. Add the Gene and Ozzy Show to your playlist right now. From author Darwin Jefferson comes your next must-read book, Pac-Wan and the Order of Lost Souls. Available on Amazon. Author Darwin Jefferson tells a story about the supreme leader of a religious cult in the northern woodland region outside of Seattle, Washington. For many years, Pac-Wan had pilfered money, land, and property from his disciples, allowing him to establish a lavish lifestyle and construct a fortified compound where he's adored, worshipped, and treated as royalty. But the federal government has been investigating this religion cult and Pac-Wan's finances as well. Meanwhile, the Achilles Project, directed by world-renowned genetic research scientist Dr. William Nelson, has just made a breakthrough in genetic DNA enhancement and restoration. What follows are events and circumstances that no one is prepared to deal with. What happens next? Find out when you read Pac-Wan and the Order of Lost Souls from author Darwin Jefferson. Available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Order your copy right now. Diamonds are certainly beautiful, but very expensive. You may not be able to afford diamonds, but you can afford the look with moissanite. Moissanite is a naturally occurring crystal that looks just like diamonds. Jewelry made from this mineral is stunning and very affordable. The Etsy shop, Moissanite Rings Co., that's all one word, on Etsy.com, sells handcrafted, amazing rings, earrings, bracelets, and much more. Shop their diamond wedding and engagement rings and bands. No one will know they are not real diamonds. kids. You deserve better, economical, eco-friendly, and conflict-free fine moissanite diamond jewelry. Available at Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy. That's all one word on Etsy.com. Buy any ring above $100 and you'll get a matching band for just $1. Perfect for yourself or as a gift. Moissanite Rings Co. on Etsy.com. Start shopping right now. If you're looking for the perfect tees for your loved ones, check out the Etsy shop First Up Co. on Etsy.com. The designs are colorful, whimsical, with a great variety of styles, colors, sizes, and themes. Whether you want tees for holidays, birthdays, religion, sports, Mother's and Father's Day, nurses, funny tees, and that's just the beginning. The selection at First Up Co. on Etsy is huge. You'll find all kinds of tees for everyone you know. Also enjoy fast shipping. First Up Co. is the best place to get your Christmas gifts for everyone on your Christmas gift-giving list. Go right now to First Up Co. on Etsy. Just search First Up Co. That's all one word on Etsy.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, guys. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I did something today because I wanted to talk about this, is I went on Netflix and tried to watch the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle show on Netflix. It is unwatchable. You know, it's an interesting thing about Harry and Meghan. Their perception of how they are perceived is so out of touch with reality.
That is definitely true.
And I know we've got a lot of listeners in the UK, and I'm going to tell you this. No one in the United States cares about Harry and Meghan.
The Daily Mail's obsessed with them.
Well, because it's out of England. Yeah. It's a British. I
mean, it's just ridiculous.
Now, Harry and Meghan live in California next door to Oprah Winfrey, and out in Hollywood, I think the celebrities out in Hollywood make a big deal out of them, so they think America is mesmerized. The United States was obsessed with Diana. Okay, there was and Fergie had a bit of a run. Fergie had a talk show on American television for a couple of years.
I remember that,
and we always liked her. But there was a fascination in the United States, and Princess Diana. Because I watched there's 3 episodes of the Harry and Meghan thing. I could not get through one of them. I watched a little bit of all 3. And I am so tired of Harry saying my first duty is to protect my family. For some reason, he thinks people are out to get him. No one cares enough about them. They just want them out of their hair. That's all they want. And they're talking about how they met and their love affair. The fascination with Diana, I'm not exactly sure. I'm talking about before she died. I'm not exactly sure why that is. Back in that era.
Oh, I think she created a lot of that. I think he's just like her. My perception of Diana, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead, and it's horrible what happened to her. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But she manipulated the press, definitely she is just like Harry. She used the press to bully people and humiliate people, and she always liked to play the role of the victim, but she knew exactly what she was doing. And I remember they interviewed people that worked with her, like her butler and stuff, and he said that she knew exactly what she was doing. She used the press. She would tell them where she was. She would she manipulated them and used them to get back at the royal family and to humiliate them. This is what Harry's doing. And I remember on an interview before she passed away, she said that Harry was just like her. They had the same personality.
That's for sure, they are.
And that's true. He is a victim. His wife is a victim. They're professional victims. When we watched the first episode, it's terminally boring, but she's an actress.
We fast forwarded through it.
She's acting, no doubt. And you have 2 people here that are feeding off each other. And it's really, but their perception is warped. He has this whole idea that he is being targeted, stalked. He lives in constant fear, or that's what he says. And I understand that because of what happened with his mother. He's still dealing with that trauma, clearly. And Meghan is a complete narcissist. like on a whole other level. And that just is a danger. That's like a perfect storm. You know what I mean? And she's a victim. And the problem with their special, they've released 3 episodes, is they've had all these teasers and all these press releases, how there's all these bombshells and all this. There's no bombshells. It's a documentary about their boring love story that nobody cares. It's them sitting on a couch talking about how they met and being hounded by the press and the paparazzi. Well, maybe they were hounded, but they were a new couple. It was a big deal. And I think she liked every minute of it. I think she loves the press. And then they talk about how they want to be private, but they have all 15 hours, they said, of footage that was documented during their courtship. Who does that? Who documents their courtship and then releases it in a document? She knew what she was doing. Her whole life's a reality show. That's what she wants. She's going to be on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills next.
The thing about Diana, at least in the United States, I can't speak for why she was so popular and famous in England, but in the United States, when Diana was a big deal, the paparazzi was a big deal. They were following around celebrity. Like, I remember, this will sound stupid now, but Michael J. Fox, when he was first married and he had a baby shower, the paparazzi would follow him around the streets all the time and celebrities. And remember the days when Britney Spears and her sister used to go to Starbucks, and there was this
They know where the paparazzi are. Well, they like it.
Well, there was this era of paparazzi, and it doesn't really exist like it used to these days. It's not the thing. And Diana had paparazzi following her around, whether she called them whatever, but it was a big thing. The paparazzi just isn't what it used to be. And Harry and Meghan thinks she's Princess Diana, and people just don't like her. But I'll tell you, I was watching a little bit of The Queen on Netflix. I liked The Queen. The first season of The Queen was very, very good.
You mean The Crown?
The Crown, yeah. Did I say The Queen? The Queen was that movie.
Which was very good.
Yeah, the Crown on Netflix is very, very good. I watched the first season because Matt Smith, I like Matt Smith, and he's like my favorite Doctor Who. So I watched it because of that, and it was really good, and I learned a lot. And then I got less interested in the other seasons, and it's a lot about Churchill and Queen Elizabeth, and it was very interesting stuff. But this most recent season, I've seen a little bit of it, clips on YouTube. And this is amazing. In The Crown this season, they make Diana look really bad, and I've never seen this. And she looks like
how? What do they do?
They make her look like a whiny person who's just a crybaby. And that's how
like her son.
That's how Harry is. And I got news for Prince Harry. No one feels sorry for a spoiled rich kid like that.
But why does this is what I
mean, we feel sorry he lost his mother, but
a lot of people lose their mothers.
Butch up.
And the reason Diana died was because she got in the car with a drunk driver. That's it. She was hounded by the press all the time. And I'm not saying the press didn't play a part in her death. They obviously did. They were chasing her in a tunnel. But if the driver had been sober, she probably would be alive today. He was inebriated. And that's part of the problem. And I understand why I personally feel that Harry hates his family. He has to, otherwise he wouldn't be doing all this. He blames his father for his mother's death because he talks all the time how they didn't protect her. And once they got a divorce, she had no more protection. Well, she was a multi-millionaire. She could hire her own protection. But anyway, he blames them for her death. And now he's gotten married, and he's married a narcissist who's a constant victim. And she is tapped into that fear of his, into that trauma. And she is exploiting it. And he is exploiting her because it helps him with his hatred of his family. They have a very dysfunctional marriage. They just don't realize it, but they use each other for their own
She's
purposes.
His mother.
She's his mother, and he uses her to get back at his family. She's a catalyst for that. And he's a catalyst for her narcissism and need for fame.
That's right.
So they have a very dysfunctional marriage. They don't see it. They don't realize it, but it's clear to me. Well, I've been married a long time, and I can tell you, if you see how she is, I don't understand the love affair with her. I mean, she is as phony as they come. Her sister's right. She's a total phony. And he's just a whiny crybaby. And all he does is he doesn't have a job. They got paid $100 million for this boring. Netflix is stupid, even though Wednesday's a great show. They paid them $100 million for this snooze fest. They're the most boring couple on the planet. Don't waste your time if you like them. It's really just a documentary of them sitting there talking about how they met, you know, and how, you know, people are racist in England and they don't understand her. And it's a lot of contrived drama that they create and then complain about. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, I before we go, I want to talk just a bit about the latest bombshells from the Twitter files.
Oh,
we
yes,
got new
this
stuff.
is very good.
You know, we got something yesterday and something today. Yesterday came out about the shadow banning of the conservatives, and I know you've seen some high-profile names, libs of TikTok, Bongino, and Charlie Kirk, who were shadow banned in all kinds of ways. And it wasn't just them; it was a lot of conservatives like me and you,
right?
And I wanted to share something with you guys that popped into my mind. I was watching them talk about this on TV earlier. We were watching Martha McCallum, who's had some work done on her neck finally.
She's had some Botox and fillers, I think. Yeah, she looks a little better.
But this talk about that, now we have proof that Twitter was shadow banning high-profile conservatives and not high-profile, just conservatives in general. They showed screenshots of the inner workings of Twitter showing where these famous, you know, Bongino and Charlie Kirk and libs of TikTok were being silenced, and some others. And I'm listening to all this discussion about it for a day now, 24 hours or so. And I said to you, Kathy, I said, you know, some of them have a thing on there where they can't trend and they're not promoted. And I said, well, how is Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens trending all the time?
Yeah.
Why is Bongino and Charlie Kirk and these others forbidden from trending?
Are we going to get a list of all these people?
Well, I'll get to that in a second. And you know, so Charlie Kirk and Bongino, libs of TikTok, they're shadow banned by Twitter. They're prevented from trending. Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens have been trending regularly throughout all of this. So it was
interesting.
It was interesting to me that they're trending, these never Trumpers, but the never Trumper Republicans, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens, but the pro-Trump Republicans have all these shadow bans. Okay, now we got two other updates today from Elon Musk. Elon Musk said that he has the engineers on Twitter working on a system so that everyone can see whether or not they were shadow banned.
Yeah, that'll be good.
And see their treatment on Twitter over the years. That's amazing, and that's going to turn things upside down again.
And I have a feeling it'll be 95% conservative. And they showed on Martha McCallum has actually been talking a lot about this on her show on the story at 3:00. I don't usually watch her show, but I like Martha McCallum, but she's been covering this a lot. So if you're interested in this, I would watch her show. And she had Joe Concha on and actually Howard Kurtz on today talking about it. And they showed a clip of Jack Dorsey in front of Congress, and he was under oath. And they asked him, are you shadow banning conservatives? And he said no. And
Liar.
You had said to me, I said, well, he's lying. He's under oath. And you had said to me that Jack Dorsey's removed. He didn't know about it. I said, no. He knew everything about it. He just wants you to think he didn't know anything about it. That's why he's aligning himself with Elon Musk right now. Because he doesn't want you to know that he knew about it. Now, if they can uncover some internal emails of him knowing about this, now maybe he didn't, but if they do, he lied under oath, which is a crime. And I would like to know what the penalty is for that, for him, if they would do anything about it, because he directly said he did not shadow ban, and now we see that they were lying to people. And what that is all about is again about the brainwashing of America. This goes of the world. This goes beyond a baker refusing to bake a cake. Okay, this is Twitter, which affects the culture. It affects politics. It affects policy being made. And when they are censoring people, I mean, how many news stories come from Twitter? It drives the news cycle. When Trump was in office, Twitter completely drove the news cycle. They were suppressing conservative voices, shadow banning, blocking, suspending. Why do you think that is? Not because, because that's psyops. They were actively trying to silence all those voices to sway elections, sway public opinion. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. And one last thing about that, because Elon Musk, it's interesting that Elon Musk is, people will tweet something and then he'll respond to it. And someone, just a regular person, put up on Twitter, was Twitter shadow banning political candidates while they were running for office? And he said yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are a lot of those
couldn't campaign.
So what's going on now are people in Congress are like, wow, did they do that to me?
Yeah.
So Congress is going to be all over this, the new House, when we get the MAGA Republicans in a couple weeks. It's going to be exciting. Listen, guys, we're all out of time. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.
From author J.C. Finnegan comes your next must-read book, The Divided Stories of America, The Green Forest, available on Amazon. Have you ever thought, what if the United States of America were no longer united? That's the premise of The Divided Stories of America, which chronicles a scenario in which divergent political ideologies have finally splintered the greatest country the world has ever known. In the aftermath of the national divorce, the present is grim, and the past has been labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory. With truth existing only as a fading memory, Finn struggles to convince his girlfriend of the importance of freedom while holding out hope that it still can be found somewhere. Finn encounters two people from his past whose revelations are the catalyst for a plan that could cause the ruling elite to strip Finn of everything. What happens next? Find out and discover if he chooses the assurance of safety and security over truth, freedom, and love. And order your copy of The Divided Stories of America, The Green Forest, from author J.C. Finnegan, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.